I don't think it's the right thing to do. I've always said just send the men to war. They don't need to send the women and children. Um, Daughters don't need to be there. They really don't need to be on the front line for anything. If they need to send them, let it do it. If you're going to draft women, do it the same way they did it in World War II, where everybody stays back in the home country. We fire up our industrial complex, bring it out of mothballs,
There's a
make
job
America,
for them. Yeah.
yeah, make America great again. Bring our industry back, and let them build the war machine at home. If you have to, yeah, if you have to draft them that way. But other than that, they don't need to be sent to the front lines.
No, and not everybody, I think 3% of the actual military serves in literal combat, right?
Right.
Literal hand-to-hand combat or, frontline combat. I think personally, if you want equality, that's equality. If you really want to get on the mountain of we want women's rights, that's you be careful what you ask for because you just got it. Now, I'm with you. I think there's certain roles that women, the weaker gender, can play. And I
Right.
got no problem with women serving in logistical administration. I mean, I'll tell you this. The rear with the gear is what keeps the people up front armed and supplied. So, I mean, I got no problem with it. None at all.
I don't
But
either.
I think the Democrat Party, this is all Chuck Schumer. He thought he was going to get an outpouring of support, and there hasn't really been, right? There's not really been
Yep.
that outpouring of support. What's your take on it? What are you hearing from where you're at?
Well, he doesn't get the outpouring of support because people don't support going to war anymore. This generation, and well, every generation really doesn't want to go to war. They do. They really want peace, and they want to be left alone, really. And
Nationalist.
it's 100% true that it's a nationalist country. They do want to help and support people outside. They want to some if federal aid is actually needed, people are very generous and they're willing to go and open their pocketbooks and help people around the world. However, when it's force fed down their face or down their throat, and all of our tax dollars go other places, people, they really start waking up and knowing that this isn't what they want. And then they see that anytime power changes in Congress or anything else, the Democratic Party is a warmongering party. They are very pro-war. As you saw with President Trump, there wasn't any new wars that were started. He really didn't send anybody anywhere. And if he did anything, it was a strategic strike against a leader to, super like, let me drop a bomb on you and it's done. But other than that, people nowadays are like, leave us alone. We don't want to get involved. We're not the world's police. We don't want to continue this anymore. So, and I see that a lot, through the recruiting thing. Is that's one of the very first things the parents ask me is like, is my son or daughter going to get sent off to war while they're in college? I had someone ask me that this morning, even though it was Juneteenth, I still worked. And I had a couple Zoom calls. And, one of the first things is my son going to get drafted while he's in college? And I'm like, if he signs a contract, with the Army saying he's going to join, he can't be deployed, but his first year, it's no holds barred. He could. And she wasn't too happy about that.
I don't know how many people we've got in the chat that are veterans. I don't know. If you're a veteran in the chat, just put a V. Put a V for veteran. If you've got a family member that is a veteran, put an F so that I can know that you're a family member of a veteran or a veteran. Okay, I see some V's popping up. Here's the one thing, and I'm a member of the VFW. I'm sure many of the other people are as well. See a lot of V's, a lot of F's. We got a lot of connections with veterans and veterans' families.
Mm-hmm.
The VFW is failing. The VFW
Awesome.
is dying. A lot of people are sad about it, but I'm not, because to be a member of the VFW, you have to have been involved in a conflict. You got to have a campaign ribbon, or you had to have a veteran of foreign wars. That's what it is.
Right.
Donald Trump didn't deploy any troops into a conflict or into a campaign or into combat. So you've got about a 5-year gap. The VFW's membership is already old. They need Joe Biden to start a war so they can up their membership. They're running out of people, literally. Young people are not joining the VFW. Young people are not joining the American Legion. It's a dying breed. But I actually am pleased to see the VFW membership dropping off because it means we haven't been in a war. What's your take
Exactly.
on that, Lawrence?
Exactly. And then we talked about this, and it just makes me wonder, with the push to support Ukraine, the push to possibly put people over there and everything else, are those two organizations actually lobbying Congress to do something so they can actually up their membership so they can keep going and be relevant as an organization later on in life? I mean, I'm glad, like you are, that they're failing and numbers are dwindling. I mean, yeah, we don't need to be in any more foreign wars. My kids are growing up. I don't want them to be involved in foreign wars. My experience over in Iraq, I don't want them to have. So, yeah, let them
The
fail.
reason I figured out the reason they instituted this automatic enrollment. A lot of young people don't get driver's licenses.
It's
So that
true.
removes that enrollment from that side. A lot of young people are not going to college. So if you apply for a federal loan, federal
Mhm.
student loan, FAFSA, there's an
Yep.
automatic enrollment on there. So they're not getting driver's license, they're not going to college, and they're not registering purposely. So that's why they brought this back. So that because American people are waking up that college is not the only way to have a great life.
Right.
There's a lot of there's a lot of doctors that call a plumber.
Exactly. I've told my kids that too. I'm like, hey, college shouldn't be your end all be all. Trade school people make a heck of a lot more than a person coming out of college with a lot of college debt. And that's detrimental for me to say because I'm a college recruiter and I'm
Yeah,
just being honest with my kids. I'm like, their grandfather was a plumber. So he got out of the, he retired from the Air Force and did plumbing for a little bit, made a good life
yeah,
until he
absolutely.
retired fully. So it's just like, I mean, once you get through the apprentice program, what is it? A plumber can come to your house and not do any work and still charge you like $125 an hour just to listen to your garbage disposal go. So it's just like, oh man, it still works. It's like,
Or
dude,
pour
what?
something in the sink to unclog your daughter's hair, right?
Right?
He
Like,
pours a
yeah,
$39 bottle in there and he charges you $400 to do it. And he's sitting
exactly.
there staring at you like, I'll take cash. You know, there's a
Right?
lot of brain surgeons that call plumbers, a lot of brain
Mhm.
surgeons that call electricians, a lot of brain surgeons that pay for people to do their yard work, right?
Yep.
You do not have to have a college degree. And I think society is getting away from that mandatory college degree. I think they're getting away from it because it's starting to be like, well, universities, some of them are these indoctrination camps, right?
Right.
And the kid comes out of there with $150,000 in student debt and they've got a degree in feminine dance therapy, right? And then they're making 14 bucks an hour putting sprinkles on your mocha chocolata at Starbucks.
Right.
Every time I go to this one coffee shop, there's a coffee shop here. It's called Onyx, locally owned business. I go in there all the time on the way to work and I'll stop in and I always make it a point because all the kids in there have loads of piercings in their faces and belly buttons and they all got tramp stamps and all this other weird shit, right? They all got the ornaments in their faces and their
Hmm.
brows and cheeks. And I always ask, I'm like, oh, are you in college? Yeah, I'm a student because I live in a university town, University of Arkansas. They're like, yeah, I'm a student. I'm like, what's your degree in? And it's always something off the wall, like philosophical poetry, right? Or feminine dance therapy, or like musical history, or some
Right.
bullshit. And I'm like, and I say to him, I'm like, uh, what year are you in? Oh, I'm a senior. What are you going to do after that? And it's the face melt look, right?
Right.
It's just face melt. And then I look at them and they're like, you want room for cream or something like that? I'm like, no, I drink my coffee black and bitter. right? Just like I like my women, black and bitter. And they just look at me like, what?
What
But
did you
I
just
mean, they're
say?
putting sprinkles on shit for 14 bucks an hour. And I think that's even overpaid for that. But it's ironic that that conception that you got to have a degree is fading. And I think it's fading fast. I
I
really
think so
do.
too. I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that you can actually train someone better and actually get the product out of someone you want without them going to college to do something. A lot of people I've talked to that have been retiring from the military, they've been saying, "Oh, I was going to go back to college, but the new employer just said, come in, we'll give you on the job training, and then we'll just get you up to speed since they already have some skills from the military. So they're willing to train people nowadays, which is
Snow
great.
Lion. Snow
Oh yeah,
Lion, think she's a longtime member. In the olden days, we called it basket weaving 101. And there was another
underwater basket
comment here I
weaving.
want to grab. There was one right here. Sandra Odell. I'm a retired professional dog groomer who had many doctors, lawyers, politicians, etc., who were my clients. Sandra, great comment. Perfect example. I love it.
Yep, one of my
Absolutely
wife's
love it.
friends is a dog groomer, and she makes pretty
Makes
good
a
money.
killing. Makes a killing. I have to
Hmm.
take my dogs about once every 8 weeks. Daisy, she's a golden doodle, and I think it's like $80 to get her haircut and shit. But I don't know how to do it, right?
Right?
I don't know how to do it. I was talking, me and Guyman went out to lunch today. We were walking out, and I was like, yeah, I got to drop some shirts off at the dry cleaners. And I'm very privileged. I'm the absolutely privileged white guy. I'm the
Mm.
privileged white male conservative Christian. I'm everything that the Democrat Party hates. I've got a
Hmm.
housekeeper. I've got a
What?
house, a
What?
job. I take shit to the dry cleaners.
Oh man,
I, I am
you might as well
living
be Hitler.
the hated life. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm Schmittler. I'm Schmittler. I might as well.
Hmm.
Here, there you go. Democrats, eat it up. I'm Schmittler. I'm right. I'm
Oh
Schmittler.
my goodness.
I know who my parents are.
What?
Um, I've only been arrested outside of the United States. Um, what else is horrible about me? Uh,
You probably
there.
own a white car too.
Oh God, I do. I
Oh,
do. I tell you this. This is the kicker. I got an American flag outside of my house.
now we know who you're voting for.
It's sad because in my neighborhood, I am the only house with an American flag. There's like 9 houses with the Lucky Charms color magic
Right?
rainbows flags. There's like 9 of those. I'm the only one with an American flag. Only one. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think I'm one of two people that have an American flag on my road. So
It's pitiful, isn't
it's yeah.
it? It is a definite shift in the way of thinking. But we're about to get a lot of patriotic people. If they submit the draft, you're about to get a lot of patriots. A lot of them are going to go kicking and screaming. It's going to be that
Exactly.
what was that movie with Bill? Was it Bill Murray or Bill Murray? Stripes? Was it
Stripes.
Stripes?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to see Stripes. We're about to see. Could you imagine a drill sergeant getting in a bunch of fairy dusted, anti-American, anti-military? Like, how would you deal with that? You got out after I did. How would you deal with that? Did you have
Yeah.
anybody that worked for you that was openly like maybe not the most patriotic? Yes.
I don't think so. Everyone
No.
that was around me was pretty patriotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't recall anybody that didn't really want. Well, I know a few people that didn't want to be there just because the army sucks. Oh, blah blah blah. But no one was like openly, this is the worst place on earth, and I can't believe this is happening. Or they just kept their mouth shut and they just dealt with it, and they knew everybody else in the office would be like, dude, really? You're getting paid as much as you are. You have all these benefits, and you're sitting here crying about it. Get out of here.
I say all the time. I was putting the garbage cans out the other night and I was walking into the garage. Uh, the person I love the most was already inside getting ready for bed. And you ever just have one of those moments of clarity where everything just comes into focus? I was in my underwear putting out the garbage cans, and I'm walking back up the driveway. The light's on in the garage, so it's a beautiful silhouette of me in my underwears. And I wear boxer briefs for everybody that's fantasizing about that. But anyway, I was walking for all of you
Nice.
fantasy island people. I was
Take
walking
those.
back up to
There
the
we go.
garage, and I saw for all the people that think I'm rich, I've got a Toyota 4Runner that I just bought. It's a used one. I traded my Toyota Tacoma. I got a 4Runner. It's a very average vehicle. I've got a Harley Davidson. Natalie's car was parked there, and I'm walking back up into the driveway, into the garage, and I was like, it was just this moment of clarity that I was like, I've got a pretty good life, man. I've got a pretty good life. I've got a nice house in a nice neighborhood. I've wanted to shoot some people here, but I haven't had to. Um, you know, and I've got a house, I've got a retirement, I've got a job that I enjoy. I've got a lot of people in the chat that I like to communicate with. I've got somebody that I love. I was like, man, I've got a pretty good life going on here. But there's still a very large percentage of Americans that just can't be happy with what they have. And they're
Right.
always chasing. I mean, do you know some people like that, Larry,
I do.
that just can't
There's
be satisfied?
exactly. And it's troublesome. Like you said, I've sat outside on my porch, well, on my driveway, with a fire going, and I'm just like, man, I'm retired from the army. I have the retirement coming in. I have the VA disability coming in, and I have a job. I don't have to go back to work if I don't have to, or if I don't want to.
Yeah.
And my kids are happy. We're finally settled down in a nice house, and yeah, I can just sit there and just like, I have everything I've ever wanted. I mean, do I want to be rich? Maybe. That'd be great so I don't have to worry about money, but that's not the drive in life. But I know people who have to live offended by everything, or they have to nitpick everything and find the worst in every single situation. And it's like, dude, how do you live like that? What is your drive to be unhappy all the time? I mean, they can go out and they'll be like, "Oh man, I bought a pizza, but the cheese stuck to the top and now it's ruined." It's like, can't you
It's
just
a
scrape the
damn pizza.
can
Yeah.
you just scrape the cheese off the top and eat the pizza? But no, it's going to ruin their whole day. Or they get stuck at traffic lights all the time. I hit every traffic light before I came in. I think the city of Lawrence is against me. It's like, get out of here. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Some of the stuff like I can hear during the day. It's like, are you serious? Just calm down.
Somebody
Enjoy
says,
life.
Troll says it's happy. It's not Speedos. Troll, you don't know what happens when the lights go out. You don't know.
Boom.
You, Hoop
Uh,
says to you, Lawrence, you're talking about energy vampires.
yes. Yes, and living in a very liberal town such as, well, I live outside of Lawrence, Kansas, where the University of Kansas is. It's a super liberal town. I mean, on my drive to work, there is a fence that has George Floyd's mural painted on it and says,
Oh, nice.
I
St.
can't remember
Floyd.
what it says. Yeah,
St.
but
Floyd,
it's
do you
just like
do the Catholic thing every time you drive by
I feel so bad. I'm like, oh
it?
man, I'm sorry for that PCP user, the fentanyl user, or whatever the hell he had in his blood. I'm like, oh man, it's like free George Floyd or something like that. And I pass it and I'm like, and then you get into places and the University of Kansas, super liberal. We got people with the rainbow hair walking around and guys in high heels, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And when I look at him, I can see him looking at me like, just say something to me, you bearded freak.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
ready to
yeah.
go off on you. And I'm just like, dude, live your life. I'm going to live mine. I'm not going to bother you. So quit trying to provoke stuff. And
You
it's
mess
like,
with me, you're not going to get a safe space. You're going to get a chalk outline. And I don't call 911. I call 811. Period. That's
boom.
my theory. I'm
Yeah.
not playing those games. I'm not. I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be pushed around. I'm not going to be bullied. I'll give you some space, but you better steer clear. I'm a great person until you cross me. And then I will stay awake 8 nights in a row if need be, plotting the way to get you back. And I will, because I'm a firm believer sometimes karma needs a gentle shove.
Hmm.
Karma needs a nice little nudge sometimes, right?
Right.
And I don't know if I ever told you this story or not. I don't know if I've ever even shared this story on here or not. So back when I was in England, living in
Yes.
Ruislip, actually I was living in Eastcote is where I lived. I was there
I
for
lived in
about,
Roxton.
yep. Uh, I was going to meet Dan Borden, to go ride Harleys. And I was on my bike in Ruislip Manor at the little red light in Ruislip Manor. And I was sitting at the light, and the light changed, and this Porsche convertible, license plate Delta 280 Alpha Lima Charlie, blew by me. I still remember the license plate. It's burned in my brain. Blows by me, and the mirror took the wing mirror out on my Harley, my old purple Sportster. It clipped it. And I was like, this bastard almost killed me. But I saw the license plate. I was kind of shaken up. I go meet up with Dan. We go riding. He's like, man, what happened to your mirror? I'm like, some dude hit me. About 2.5 years later, while I was still there, do you remember Johnson? Do you remember him?
Nope.
MA3 Johnson. He was like he
Was
was
he
a
a black
young
guy?
punk. No, he was a young punk. He was okay. So him and I
I don't
went
remember him.
down. We went down in the middle of the night, and we went to the barracks. We went to go run and check the barracks down there,
Oh,
right?
nice. It's a good place to
And
go.
horrible part of town. It was like a Friday night or something too, right? So it was all the freaks in downtown London. That's where we were at. And we drive down there. We check the barracks. We're just out gallivanting. We stopped off at a kebab shop. And he goes in to get a kebab. And I was just like, yeah, grab me one too. So I'm just sitting in the car. And I look, and about, I don't know, 100 feet up the road was that Porsche convertible, Delta 280 Alpha Lima Charlie. And I'm sitting in the car like, holy shit, right? I'm
Right.
like, holy shit. So he's in the kebab shop. I get out of the car. I walk up there. I'm looking around because CCTVs are everywhere in London. I don't see any CCTVs. And I did some like 8 count bodybuilders on the hood of that thing and on the roof, and just literally just exercised my demons on this car.
Mm.
It was like a cleansing moment. I
Oh, nice.
got off the car. It didn't have any mirrors or anything that left on it. I go back to the other car. I get in. Johnson comes out. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Nothing." He's like, "Looks like you've been. What's wrong with you? Your face is all red." I was like, "Oh, nothing. I just grabbed the kebab and started eating it." Right. But it was like this cleansing moment that karma found its way back into my life, and I got to, give karma a gentle nudge. Just a gentle nudge.
I just see you in your uniform jumping up and down on a Porsche.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. Delta 280 Alpha Lima Charlie. Yeah, I remember it. I'll never forget that license plate number. And I guarantee you they came out and they were like, shit, what happened to this? But hey, that's the way it is. Karma. I mean, I'm sure you were on a ship, you cross somebody on a ship, they're gonna get you. They
Yep.
are going to get you. They're gonna get
Yep.
you. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
What do you think about this upcoming thing I saw with the National Defense Authorization Act where they're trying to raise junior enlisted pay? Do you think that's going to help recruiting, or is there already too much damage done?
I don't know if it's going to help recruiting at all. It's going to be great for retention, but I don't know if like recruiting is going to do anything better because a lot of the recruits are just really set on, not wanting to join because they don't want to put their life on hold. They don't want to. They're afraid of getting hurt, and they don't see the real benefit of military service like at all. That's how Ricelip rolls. West Ricelip. Yes.
Hey, West Ricelip was rough. That central line, baby. They were rough.
Mhm. Yes. So was Guyman, was he in England? He was in England. He was in Mildenhall.
Lake and
Um,
Heath, Mildenhall. Yeah.
yeah. One of my favorite things to do after we got those Vauxhall Vectras, and they were super fast. I would drive when we were on patrol. I would just, I would tell them, hey, Mobile One's going to be gone for a little bit, and I would drive up to Milden. It was either Mildenhall or Lakenheath, one of the two. It's when they opened up that Taco Bell, and I would
Oh, that's
drive the two
right.
and a half. I drove the 2.5 hours up there. I got Taco Bell while I was on duty, and
That's
then
hilarious.
I would just drive right back, and they were like, "Where you been?" And I was like, just hanging out." I went out.
Me and
I went out to the barracks.
me and Hutch would get on the M25 right there at Uxbridge. He would go west, I would go east, and we would race around the M25 to see who could make it back the fastest.
Really?
He would go clockwise, I would go counterclockwise, and we would see who could make it back. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And then
awesome.
I had a friend, I had a Royal Air Force guy that was a buddy of mine that was stationed in Uxbridge. And at night, I would go up there because at RAF Uxbridge, they had the underground bunker where Winston Churchill had his like war room. Did you ever go in there?
I didn't.
Oh, so there was an underground bunker where Churchill, that's their war room. It had this big giant table, it was like 100 feet by 50 feet, this giant chair with these long poles that pushed little like game board pieces around on this big giant map of Europe. And I
Cool.
would go up there and we would go in there. And on many nights, I would sit in Churchill's chair and have a cup of tea
Hell
in
yeah.
Winston Churchill's freaking chair. It was
That's awesome.
amazing. The other really good story I had was I had a friend of mine that was a beefeater. He worked at the Tower of London.
Okay.
And I would go down there at night. I'd call him. I was like, hey, do you want anything? He's like, yeah, bring us some kebabs. There was like 8 beefeaters that worked. So I'd go and get like 8 kebabs, go to the Tower of London. They would let me in through the back gate. I'd park. And then I would go into their big security room and you could see all the cameras around the tower. And they would like take me around the tower in the middle of the night to like see the crown jewels, and up in the tower where was it Rudolph Hess? Yeah, I think it was either Hess or Goring was up in the tower. I went up there many nights in the middle of the night. It was creepy as shit, and just hung out and had a cup of tea with a bunch of beefeaters. It was cool as hell, man. It was
That
cool
is
as
crazy.
hell.
That's
It
awesome.
was it was awesome, dude. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I mean, like now it says, Ben, did you drop a deuce in Henry the Seventh's armor? I I have taken multiple dumps at the Tower of London. I have. I'm not going to say where, but I have. I absolutely have. I wanted to leave an upper decker, but they didn't have the upper deck. It was like just the standard thing. I would have loved to have left an upper decker in the Tower of London. It would have been like, one of those like life goals to leave an upper
Mm.
decker there.
I took a dump in Saddam Hussein's toilet.
Oh, with the gold toilet seats.
Yep. Did
Dude, I
that.
love that. I'm envious. I am envious. I'm
In the
envious of that.
Alpha Palace. Yeah, I got the picture in his royal throne, and then we got a tour through all the offices, and then they're like, hey, this was his main chamber, this was his bedroom, and this was his personal toilet. And I'm like, no way. And they're like, yeah. It's like, can I use the bathroom? And they're like, you're gonna go take a shit, aren't you? I'm like, yes,
Yep.
yes, I am.
Yes,
So
I am.
I went in there and did it, and they're like, almost everybody that comes in wants to go drop a deuce in that toilet. I'm like, yep,
Hell yes, we do. Like, that's
yeah,
amazing. That's amazing.
yeah.
Dude, I had such a fun military career. I
I did too.
absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. A lot of bad days, but I remember the good ones, probably just like everybody else.
Hmm.
I just remember the good. I got a little story for you here. A
Sure.
friend of mine, he's got a YouTube channel, a military, he's active duty military. I'm not going to mention the channel name, but he's active duty military, Navy. His command, he made a video. He makes military videos. He made a video about 2 months ago about the chief of naval personnel, and he comes at it from a very like documented type of thing.
Sure.
His command comes at him today, not because of the content of the video, but they're coming after him saying he didn't file an off-duty employment request for a YouTube channel. He's got 170,000 subscribers on his channel. He's been doing YouTube for 5 years.
Right.
And his command's wanting to shut him down because he makes military content. And I was talking to him. We were talking for about an hour today. And I said to him, I was like, well, you need to ask the investigating officer if she has a TikTok account or a Twitter page or an Instagram or a Facebook, because all those can be monetized. They're going after him because he's monetized on YouTube and he's making income.
Sure.
What's your take on that? How would you handle something like that, Larry? I mean, is that absurd?
Super absurd.
They don't like his content, number one. They don't like it.
I mean, who cares what you're doing on your off-duty time? I mean, he's not employed by another employer. He's out there doing something by himself to actually make money doing something. It's not like he's working for McDonald's to where his working hours could be impacted by the time that he's in the military. So there's nothing that should happen to him at all, in my personal opinion. I mean, he does this on his personal time. If they call him up and say, hey, you need to be back at work, I mean, don't stream that day. Don't make a freaking video or do whatever.
Yeah. You're busy.
So
like,
like whatever. But yeah, I don't think they should go after him.
It's a weird dynamic. It's a weird situation. They're just, I think they just don't like him. You know, they don't like his content.
More money than his, maybe he's making more money than what they're paying him. So they're like, hey, whoa, because they have that little that amendment in your contract. If you make more money than what you're bringing in the military, it could be a conflict of interest.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, hey, good order and discipline will break down because you're making more money than the military is offering you. So you'd be less likely to do your job in the event of whatever. So we're going to have to discharge you.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm going to show everybody real quick. Next Wednesday night, I've got this guy coming on the channel, Dr. Steve Turley. He is an advisor to President Trump. He's coming on the channel next week. Dr. Steve. I'm sure a lot of you probably watch Dr. Steve Turley's channel. I do. He's got over 1.2 million subscribers. I don't know why he wants to talk to me. I don't know why he wants to talk to me. I'm not. I sit down to poop. I'm not awesome. But he's coming on the channel next Wednesday night, and he's also invited me to go onto one of his live streams. Tonight I was supposed to have Angry Cops on, but Angry Cops had something come up with his family. He had a family emergency, couldn't come on tonight. I want to show everybody. Let me see here. I always spell camo wrong. Let's see here. I always spell camo wrong.
Oh, CAMOUFLOU.
OU. I did UO. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to pull up your channel here, give you a shameless plug.
Thank you.
Let's see here.
I'm working on part 2 of my my VRNA series right now.
This is Larry's page here, Coffee and Camouflage. He's almost got 250 subscribers. He's got 13 videos out. His thumbnails are looking great. And y'all go check it out. Larry's putting out veteran content. If you're a veteran and you're interested in talking to Larry, shoot him an email. He'd love to have you on as a guest and interview you.
Yep, I will put this out there. It'll start the interviews because I have Guyman lined up. I can't host anybody right now unless I'm on my work computer because my the work MacBook that I have and my personal my personal computer, if I use StreamYard, I don't have the processing power to actually host people.
Oh, gotcha.
So I get my I'm supposed to get my bonus for work in mid-July, so I'm going to buy a new laptop after I sell one of these, and I'm going to buy a new computer that has the processing for it, and then I'll start be able to actually live stream with people as a host instead of just a guest.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Good for you, dude. I'm glad you're doing the YouTube stuff. Hey, one of your videos hit a couple of thousand views, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, 2,000 views on the 19 million, and I think it's the facts about veterans. I think that's the
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
I think it's awesome, dude. I
I
think it's
appreciate it.
freaking awesome.
Yep,
That's some that I like seeing other veterans on YouTube, and I
appreciate
encourage
it.
any of them that are interested in it. Shoot me an email. I'll give you as much bad advice as I can possibly provide you with, and
The
hopefully it
only
helps
reason
you
why I
out.
took the leap, yeah, the only reason why I took the leap was because you said you should do it, and I'm like, all right, I will, and so
It's
I've done it.
almost like a hobby, but it's also like a side hustle. It's like a
Yeah,
hobby and a side hustle is what it is. And once you get monetized, it's really good. It'll buy you some gas and stuff like that. Donovan says thumbs up for the live stream. Donovan, thank you very much, dude. Larry, have you got anything to say tonight? I'm going to shut it down here in a few minutes.
Mm. Uh, again, come support the channel. That'd be great. I'm doing a series, a 3-part series on the Veterans Readiness and Education Program
Yep.
or employment. So hopefully on Saturday, the next one will come out, part 2. Yeah, I'm just trying to get 1% better with every video.
That's
So,
all you got to do, dude. That's
and I
all you've
appreciate you
got to
letting me
do.
come on, man. It's always great to talk to you, Ben. I like talking to you on the phone. I like texting you, and this is fun too. So, yeah.
I think YouTube, the more comfortable you get, like talking into an electronic device, the more comfortable you get. I really do. I think that's the big thing is just getting more comfortable talking. You get more comfortable sharing your opinion, becoming a wordsmith. For me, it's probably the only time out of the day where I'm not trying to use 4-letter words. Um, you know, and
Yep.
at the same time, I get to come on and talk about things that make me yell at my TV, which is what I always do. Things that make me yell at my TV is what I talk about. I've got a little clip here I want to show before we get out of here.
I
The
almost did that earlier today too. Got on and then like, dude, are you freaking serious? I almost did a reaction video today. I'm like, I'm not up for
this
that yet.
this is a clip. It's an old clip, so the video is not great, but the audio is absolutely amazing. I'm going to apologize for the video. I didn't create it. It's an old video. You'll recognize it.
The price of even a small home could be $200,000. And what about their parents trying to make ends meet right now? To stop inflation, we've got to put a ceiling on federal spending. We've got to crack down on waste, and we must lower our tax rates to encourage individual productivity. In California, where I was governor for 8 years, we went from near bankruptcy to financial help. We gave the taxpayers billions of dollars in tax relief, and we met the needs of our people. If we're going to stop inflation, we must do it now, not with bigger government. It takes better government. That's what we owe ourselves and our children. That's why I'm running for president.
Only one man has the proven experience we need. Ronald Reagan for president.
Let's make America great again.
Burn all this
Ronald Reagan.
madness.
Ronald Reagan, 1979 is where that clip is from. And I think it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say real quick, I want you to go, if you want to donate to the channel, all the super chats for the rest of June and July are going to Service Dogs of Distinction. I'm donating all to them. They provide service dogs for veterans here in Arkansas, Missouri, and Kansas. You can check out mypillow.com / use the promo code veteran. You get 40% off. Mike Lindell's a legend and a patriot. Check out Midas Gold, their sponsor for the channel. Text them 232-425. Follow me on Facebook. You can see my ugly mug over on Facebook. You can follow me on True Social. I don't have an OnlyFans page yet. That's a big yet. I'm talking with my producer. See what we can do. That'll never
Just sell
happen.
feet pics. You're gonna go great.
Oh yeah, dude.
Feet
Oh,
pics.
absolutely. Feet pics would make me bazillions. I've got horrible feet.
All you
Horrible.
gotta do is feet pics and Jello. You got the market cornered.
That's funny as hell. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like, hit the subscribe, even the trolls. I love every one of you. I know you're emotionally bankrupt. You have nothing better than your feelings. You avoid facts like a vampire does the mirror. Take care, veteran bikers out. Larry, don't go nowhere.
I won't. Later, guys.